Thanks for joining me on our podcast that we co-host together.
Thank you for joining me on our podcast that we co-host together. And
Anytime.
thank you to all the kind listeners out there still rocking with us, still tuned in here. Appreciate you guys.
Yes,
Guess
sir.
just to dive right into it, me and Dylan have some touring coming up in January. I'll say my dates here in a moment, but I think that's what we're going to talk about for this podcast. We're just going to, in general, talk about these shows we have coming up, maybe reflect on some memories from past tours we've done, and also just give some insight if there's other artists listening, kind of how we made it here, what goes into touring, just the importance of learning how touring works. I think there's a whole umbrella of things under touring that we're excited to talk about, and 'tis the season because this episode should drop right around the time when we're both hitting the road.
Yeah, I'll actually be a couple shows in when this comes out.
Couple shows in.
But yeah, we could give our dates now if you want. I think that's a good way.
Yeah.
Today's the 14th. If you're hearing this right away, I'm in Minneapolis on the 11th, so you missed that if you didn't already know. On the 14th, I'll be in Chicago. January 15th, I'm in Detroit, Michigan. January 17th, I'm in Washington, D.C. The next night, the 18th, I'm in Pittsburgh. January 21st, I'm in Philadelphia. 22nd, New York City. 23rd in Boston. And ending on January 24th in Westfield, Massachusetts, which is basically my hometown show. So we got a good little run here. Me and Ollie Joseph are co-headlining Jigsaw Tour Part 1. It'll be a good time. So if you're listening to this and you're in one of those places and you don't come to these shows, you're on the naughty list. So
Cooked.
keep that in mind.
Very exciting stuff. Going to be good shows. Both you and Ollie, really good performers. It'll be a fun time. And DOS is opening that for you guys, right?
DOS is opening. Yep. We have a couple select local openers on some of the shows, just like doing one-offs. But yeah, try to keep it tight bill. 3 or 4 acts. Right to the point. We're going to hang out, sell merch. It'd be a great time.
Love it. My dates are January 16th in Los Angeles, California. The 18th, playing in Phoenix, Arizona. The 20th, I'll be in San Antonio, Texas. 22nd, I'll be in Fort Worth. 23rd, I'll be in Austin, Texas. 25th, I'll be in Houston, Texas. January 27th, I'll be in Atlanta. January 28th, I'll be in Orlando. And January 29th, I will be in Tampa, Florida. And that's it. We end it in Tampa.
Yeah.
Call it wraps. I'm really excited for it. I'm opening for Gavn.
Which you toured with last year?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, toured with him last year. We did like a little Pacific Northwest run. If you haven't heard his music, go check it out. Really good stuff. And yeah, I'm opening for him. It'll be really cool. Like, I think that when I toured with him the first time, there were some people coming out to see me. For sure there were people coming out to see me, but I really felt like it was a lot of his fans discovering me for the first time. And I think just since then, naturally, like it's been maybe like a year since that tour, I've done some growing on my own, a lot of people discovering me. It feels like already on this tour, there's a lot more people that I know that are coming to see Adam Yokum than previously. So really, really excited to just see more of that blend between my fans and his. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's kind of a little bit of a stress relief off of you, or like less anxiety when you know that people there like already like your music and already care about you. Because when you're going out there and you're performing for whatever couple hundred people that have just never heard of you before, never seen you a day in your life, you're kind of like pitching yourself to them on the spot of like,
Totally.
And it's like, normally people make it through, you can listen to maybe 2 or 3 songs of an artist and you kind of get the gist of if you like them or not. So I think there's a little more pressure in those scenarios, at least that I feel of like, all right, you really got to go out there and crush it because you're showing these people who you are. I think just it's way more of a stress reliever when you know, like, oh, damn, there's people here to see me. They love my music already. I don't have to feel like a sales pitch almost. You know what I mean? It's like, just be yourself and go crush it. So, really, really excited for this tour coming up.
And also, even if there's 10% of that crowd that's like really rocking with you from the beginning because they're there to see you specifically, that can snowball and waterfall into the rest of the crowd just being like, oh, like this dude's dope. Like these people, like if you're standing next to someone at a show and you're seeing an opener and the person next to you is like singing everything word for word, you're going to be like, oh, I'm like fucking up. Like I should know about this. So now you're already like a tiny percent already more convinced because there's a proof of concept right in front of your eyes, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've seen that happen so many times. And on the other side of it, I've seen people open for an artist and no one knows who they are. So everyone's just like standing there and that artist is not super experienced in that kind of like sales pitch type of thing. And you look around and everyone's bored and then everyone's just like, all right, fuck this guy. We're just waiting for the headliner. You know?
Yeah, everyone checks out. Yeah,
So,
they're like, all right, I'm going to go grab a drink. I'm going to talk to my friend, whatever. Yeah.
That small percentage of the crowd, whatever it is, I mean, hopefully it's not a small percentage, but hopefully it's everybody, you know, but even the small percentage, I feel like goes a long way with you helping win the rest of the room over and doing your job that night, you know?
Yeah, it definitely does. It's like a momentum thing or just like like you said, kind of gives people who don't know me more of a sense of like, oh shit, there are people in this room that know exactly who this is. So clearly someone likes this music. Maybe I should pay attention and figure out if I like it as well.
Absolutely.
You know, I think if nobody knows the music, yeah, like you said, it's easy to just kind of tune it out and be like, all right, got it. You know, we're just waiting on the headliner.
Yep.
So, really excited for that. Yeah. You have any shows coming up that are your first time playing in those cities, or are these all kind of, you've been to those cities and performed before?
I've been to all of them, but I haven't headlined in all of them. So kind of a mixed bag. The first few are my first time headlining in those markets, the kind of like Midwest region. But yeah, I mean, pre-sales are looking strong. We've got really small rooms. I expect, you know, it's hard to know exactly what to expect, but I just expect there to be really good energy, whether, you know, it's 30 people or 100 people. All these capacities are like 100 to 200. Try to keep them really small and just like, you know, just have a good time and build on the community that we have being it a headlining show. Like it's a different vibe than what you were just saying because I have a lot of experience opening and I love that. I feel like it's a great way to plant seeds. It's a great way to get new eyeballs. But yeah, when like you're the top guy on the bill, you know, me and Ollie are kind of splitting that responsibility just depending on where we are. I just know this is up to me. Like I gotta bring people out. And, you know, we might be in Chicago or whatever and there's only 40 people that are there to see me. But if it's in a 100 cap room and everyone's there for the right reasons, we're just going to have a great time. And sometimes those are my favorite shows, man, because you just really get to talk to every single person there. And, you know, we've talked about this a ton. I feel like that community aspect is what it's all about. So, yeah, in some cases, we're going to go see what's what. In others, you know, we're kind of tripling, you know, fourth, fifth, sixth time around, like New York, Boston, all that. I've headlined those a bunch and I feel like we've kind of got it built out more, so to speak. It's still a small scale, but I have certain expectations, like people I can see that I know I've met before, that I know are going to come back out, that have messaged me and bring a friend or two or whatever. So that's also a beautiful thing too. And I'm just excited to rock. I've been putting my set together. I got shit all over the place, my merch in the back. Like I'm ready to roll. So yeah. Yeah, yours is right here. I got it all ready for you. So yeah, it's gonna be a great time. Looking forward to it.
Very nice. Yeah, dude, that's cool when you get to a point playing in a city where it's like you recognize faces from people that came out to the shows before.
Best.
Dude, that lets you know that the last time you did a show, you did a good job. Like, for someone to go see a show and then be like, I want to go see that again. Obviously, the shows are different every time. It's not like the same thing, but it's a good sign of, like, you're putting on a good show.
Yeah, because, when you're not in this world and looking at like the data of it or whatever, you hear an artist, you think of their music as a certain caliber, or like this song means a lot to me and it's like a big part of their life and world. And then maybe you go to the like there's been times where, I think we've even said this on the pod, where like people come up to us and like, dude, I thought there was going to be like 700 people here, and it's like, what the hell, why is it so small? It's like, at the end of the day, it's really hard to get people to spend their hard-earned money and come see you just sing on stage. Like, it's really that simple. So regardless of the number, I'm super grateful for it. But yeah, it's also a proof of concept and validating in my own head of having returned people where they come see us rock for 45 people in a tiny little basement somewhere, and it's like 12 degrees outside, and they leave like really satisfied, to the point where the next time I drop dates, they're getting tickets right away. They're stoked. They're bringing their homie or whatever. I mean, you can't even ask for more than that, bro. It's the best.
Yeah. Yeah. And
that's
also,
how it builds
I feel like,
too. That's how you get to the point where there is 700 people there and everybody knows every single word, and it starts with that core, and you just build it little by little.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes you a seasoned performer too. I think we've said this on the pod before as well, but it's way better to start off small with your shows and eventually build up and have big shows than to just like try to blow up and then randomly start doing shows. You're gonna be such a better performer that way. Also, just a thought that came to my mind is like, one of my favorite things about music is just the sharing it and giving it to other people. That's why it's so cool, and we're so stoked when we release songs, because it's like we get to hear these songs while we're making them 1,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really fun and inspiring to share it with other people and like see that first reaction and just how people live with the music. And I feel like shows are like the biggest manifest of that idea of like sharing music with other people, because it's literally like you and them in that moment just experiencing these songs that we come up with in our bedroom. It's like a really bizarre and kind of humbling thing to even think about. Like, I wrote and sang a song in my bedroom and it meant something to somebody, and now we're here like sharing an energy and a space together. It's, I don't know, it's pretty cool to think about just the whole manifest of like the songs reaching people.
Yeah, because it's all in real time too, and especially at what we're talking about, like the size of shows that we're doing right now, you're gonna see it, all of it. You're gonna see all of it, and you're gonna feel all of it. There's no like hiding in that crowd. Like I can probably see your face. There's only, if there's 60 people here, I can look around and see everybody. So, if you release a song and it's on Spotify, someone's gonna hear that song and they might cry in their house, and you're never gonna know that happened.
Yeah.
But if there's like, a couple in the corner like hugging each other, like vibing to my music, I'm like, yo, what I'm doing right now is affecting people right in front of me. Or there's like another guy in the front fucking screaming every word, like having the time of his life, or whatever. I'm just like, this is the most fun thing that you can possibly do, because you're seeing the effects in real time right in front of your face as you're delivering it too. So then it's gotta like stay in the pocket and be like, fuck, I can't like be excited and react to that because that's making me happy. I need to actually sing.
You stop singing mid-song like, yo, that's sweet.
Yeah. Trust me, I've done that type of shit before. Like, sometimes you can't help it. Oh.
Yeah. It's like, this guy gets it. Yeah. Dude, people pulling up with tattoos as well. That's always been a crazy one. Seeing people with like your music stuff like tattooed on them, a lyric or something. Yeah. There was a girl at one of the shows that had like a whole, I want to say like a leg. I think she was doing it on her leg, where she had a bunch of signatures of just like artists that she like she's big on concerts, I think, and you know what I mean, and had me like sign a piece of paper for her, and ended up getting my signature like tattooed next to all these other artists that she's seen live. Thought that was pretty cool. Just a pretty cool like token of like, here's all the musicians that I really tap into and listen to. Stuff like that just really blows my mind every time, and you don't see that stuff unless you leave your house and go tour.
Definitely, yeah.
I think that's that's another thing that I'm super excited for is um, you can kind of like gauge what you're gonna be excited for tour. Like I'm gonna meet fans. I'm gonna like whatever have an experience, sing songs. So you know what, make connections. But there's stories like that you just never even predict that would happen before. That
Hmm.
after tour you're like, damn, that was crazy.
Yeah. Um, some of the most fun times and most memorable times that I've had in my entire life is because I've toured a lot and just been around and been in interesting situations and met people and listened to their stories, or even like the outside stuff like the traveling part, or like checking in hotels late at night, or whatever. You're at a gas station at 10 a.m. in Missouri and you're just like, I would never be here. And you just see a guy and you start talking to him, and then I'm just like, I'm just gonna have that memory now. Like I was just saying crazy shit to me in the gas station at 9:45 in the morning. It's the best. It's the most fun. I don't ever want to. I mean, at some point I will, but I don't want to stop doing this anytime soon.
Yeah.
Wanted to ask you, because I think I know the answer. What was the first time you headlined your own show? Because I know you did some shows in college, like opening, and they were almost like not club appearances, but it was almost just like you pull up, do two songs, and there's like a built-in crowd type of thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, what was the first
Exactly.
time it was like, this is an Adam Yokum show? Come to this, buy a ticket.
Um. Yeah. It was in my hometown in Elkins. Um. There's this spot called El Gran Sabor. It's like a Venezuelan
That's right.
restaurant. Oh, we
We
ate
ate
there,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
I performed there and I headlined there, but I don't even know if I would count that because it was just like family and friends, really. Like I I probably could have. I don't feel like I really did anything to like build up to that. You know what I mean? It wasn't like an earned headline, if you know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah. Yeah.
mean by that. It was just like I have family and friends that are gonna pull up regardless.
Yeah.
Um,
Still, I mean, I still consider that an accomplishment, honestly, because I think there's a lot of artists that can't do that yet. So it's like, I know what you mean because you're kind of on the other side of it where I'm thinking of the Pittsburgh date that you did, especially where I remember you called me after it and were like, that felt like the first time it was like majority like fans in the building. And I think there was like 100 tickets sold or somewhere around that. And it was like, yo, this is like not my homies. This is like people that just know me because of these songs.
Yeah,
So
that was the
I
first time
I
I
get it.
felt like
Yeah.
I guess I said like a earned headline because yeah, yeah, same thing we're saying is like the homies and the family will always pull up if you're around your hometown, which is great. Like it's awesome to have like a support base. But yeah, when you start doing like shows that are pretty local to you, and then there's people in the crowd that you don't recognize as good friends that are there because they found you through the music, it's a really special feeling, really cool
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah. So you haven't had many of those as a headliner yet. Um, but what I guess when did you know that you were ready to do that and like take the leap and try to book something where it's like exactly what we're saying?
I
Trying
feel
to give some
like
game to people listening that might be feel like they're on the cusp of that or have done it before or like trying to scale it up or do it in different cities or whatever.
I guess there was never really like one defining moment where I'm like, this is it, I'm ready. But I think I'm very, I try to be in tune with my fan base and my community. And when people are DMing me, I'm always having like, personal and like thoughtful conversations. And part of that is me just learning about my fans. Hey, where do you live? You know, what are you into? Whatever. And I think that just over time, I'm able to get a gauge of like where in the world are people that like Adam Yokum music just by talking to people. Obviously, I've played shows in Pittsburgh before that, so that gave me a gauge of like where I was then and where I was now. So it's like if I played, like I did that show, I want to say it was December 2023 after the Boston
Oh yeah,
show,
yeah.
played
We
in
just booked
Pittsburgh.
that with Elijah Kyle.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't know how many people were there. Maybe Well, it was
It was
not a
like
lot.
30, maybe. It was
30
pretty small.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, 30 people. That's pushing it too. There
Yeah.
could have been like 20. And so I definitely grew since then.
I was
I
counting
think
you in the
that
bartender, by the way.
yeah, counting you and the bartender, it's like 30 people there. And out of that 30, all of them were my friends. I think
Right.
there were maybe other than like 4 or 5 people actually. There were some like fans there.
Hmm.
I guess just being engaged with like conversation with my fans, and building it, and having the reference point of that show. It's like, well, if I did 30 then and I've grown this much since then, I probably can't sell 1,000 tickets, but maybe I could do 100 or 150.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I think that's it. That's it, really. Yeah, it's just trying to be realistic about where I am. And honestly, dude, I don't think you ever know. I think
Yeah.
that was the first answer that popped in my head. You never really know. You just have to take a risk and go figure it out. That show where like 100 people showed up and it felt awesome and it felt great. I think just as easy like 50 people could have showed up because they had baby showers and whatever weddings and whatever, and then I would have been like, well, damn, we had fun, but I wish it was like bigger or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I guess you never really know until you go do it, but you just gotta go do it. Take a risk.
Yeah. I mean, the reality of it is selling tickets is really hard, especially right now. Just overall, the economy is not in a great place, and there's a lot of people out there with not a lot of just extra income to go have fun. Even at this level, where our tickets are probably $20, it's $20 for the ticket. It's another $10 to park. It's 5 hours of your time. People got kids. People got jobs. Like, they might have called out of work. Could have got a babysitter. They're probably going to go to dinner before the show. After, like, you're spending like $100 at least, I feel like, to leave the house and go to a show and have fun. So it's just hard, So that's why I feel lucky that we're able to just keep doing it, and that's the ticket. But I wanted to talk about, just for other artists out there and maybe people that are curious about it. I think if you're not familiar with being on tour and like maybe haven't had that experience yet and have probably just done, like some one-off shows locally or whatever, maybe some spot headline dates. The word and concept of tour is like this mystical thing, Like, I remember I had someone DM me and he was like, yo, like, what label are you signed to? And I'm like, bro, I'm not signed to a label. Like, I'm completely independent. And he's like, well, then how are you on tour? Like, how are you touring if you're not signed to it? I'm just like, first, obviously he had a misunderstanding of like what all that means. But I think there's a lot of folks that are just very confused about how to get these opportunities and how to just start that operation. Like, we're saying, go out and build it. It's going to be small at first, but it's like how? Like, how? I remember thinking this when I was 22 and just being like, yo, one day I'm going to go on tour. And I was just thinking that maybe somebody would just call me one day and like, bro, we heard your SoundCloud. You're ready to tour. Like, we're going to do it. We're going to put you out there and you're going to fucking be famous. Like,
Right, yeah.
So I just wanted to address maybe that like gap or certain strategies to just kind of put yourself in the game. So I don't know if you have anything to say. I know I have plenty to say about that, but I'll let you start before I go on a rant.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is being realistic. And if you're wanting to tour, and it's your first tour, so you're probably not going to be headlining. I'm just assuming, like, if you're trying to, like, maybe get an opening slot on a tour, I would say the key is adding value. So, and it's just about where you can add that value. So if your music is popping and people are discovering you and you had a big year and you want to go on tour for the first time because a shit ton of people discovered you, reach out to artists that are going on tour, try to pitch your analytics, which granted there's probably no touring history, but there's a shot that you could just show like, hey, I have listeners here, confident that I could bring people out and get on a tour like that. So you either need to, one, be confident that you can add value to the show itself and ticket sales, or buy onto a tour, add value by just paying to be there. There's plenty of tours where there's a headlining artist and maybe they're playing 10 shows on the West Coast, but you grew up in Columbus, Ohio, and none of your fans are on the West Coast, but you work a day job, you have money saved up, you got nothing to do with that money. There's a lot of artists that are touring that you can just toss them whatever it may be, 3, 4, 5 grand. That helps them pay for their van, their hotels, whatever it may be, and they're like, sweet, you added value to us, come on tour, and then you're on the tour, you get to go make new fans in that region. Obviously, that's, you got to have the money to do that, but I think that's really how you make it on tour, is adding value to those shows, whether it's bringing people to the shows or having some money to buy on.
Yeah, I think the buy on thing sometimes gets misconstrued, and I think that's because there's also artists out there and like artist management teams and agents and promoters that are pieces of shit, quite frankly, and they're just like trying to rip artists off because they know they're searching for opportunities. But there are situations where you buy onto a tour, and if you treat that like it's a job and an investment in yourself, you come home with so much exported value that you can now carry with you to the next chapter of like whatever you're doing, right? Like when we say buy onto a tour, it's not just like, hey, I'm a promoter or I'm a headliner, so you just have to pay me this much because I fucking said so and we don't care about you, Sometimes that is what it is. Like, don't get it fucked up. But there are situations where, okay, you can get yourself a 20-minute set opening for X artist. That person's bringing 100 people, 200 people to this venue that otherwise you would have no business being at. If you go in there, crush your set, be a professional, like how we were talking about, like with the show etiquette and stuff, all that, like on the last, whatever episode that was, and treat that like a job, you're not only going to walk away from that show and that leg of the tour with a bunch of relationships with venue staff, other artists on the bill, whatever it is, just people that are involved in that situation, like maybe the promoter that ran that show, maybe the agent that put the show together. But also, you're going to hopefully walk away with a couple dozen fans in each of those markets that will now come see you when you return to Seattle or Salt Lake City, and you've never stepped foot in that city. Think about this, like, if you could spend $4,000 on an ad campaign and run digital ads on your songs, and the result of that is now there's 10 to 15 ticket buyers in 8 different cities that'll come see you, you would be like, the ROI of this ad campaign was like A+ top notch. I would do this every single time. People throw money at shit that will bring kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Vanity metrics. Like, oh, I want to get this many streams, or I want to have my YouTube video popping, or I'm going to spend money on a chain so I look cool and then people will think I'm like dope, But they're afraid to invest in the actual craft of like, I'm going to actually bet on this and go out and do it, because maybe deep down they're like, I'm actually not good at performing and this is all just like a fucking pipe dream. I'm going to get out there and waste my money because no one's going to give a shit about my set, Yeah. And it's not the only way to do it, but it's a way to do it if you have the privilege and are you afford that opportunity. You can treat that with a ton of care and get a lot out of it. But also you could completely ruin it and drop the ball, which I've seen. Like, if you go out there and just think the shit's just going to work and you don't have to like be out in the crowd talking to fans or like selling your own merch, like how we were talking about, like you got to go talk to people and like be a real person in that room and like win the room over on and off stage. If you don't do that, you're probably wasting your money, Outside of a buy-on, even maybe before that, or for people that don't have a few $1,000s laying around to, or like maybe they have the money but don't have a relationship or know who to ask, or like who could I even buy onto their tour? Like, who do I even email? Like, this guy's manager doesn't answer me. One, maybe you're asking artists that are too big and you're not thinking about the finances of what that tour is, right? Before all that, adding value is a perfect way to say, like, I guess, perfect way to describe what it is I'm about to say too. I think there's also ways to put yourself in the game if you're willing to put your ego aside and use your time and develop other skill sets that can add value to a touring party. Good example is, I have a dozen, but one that I'm thinking of is, you went out on the road with Huey Mack and just sold his merch. You weren't performing at all. Now, maybe that's a little different because you were already friends with him ahead of time. You already had a little motion to, like, open on different shows and stuff. But talk about why you decided to go do that, and I'll expand after.
Tour experience. Because I think it's valuable to be on tour even when you're not performing, and just be a sponge of information of how things work. That way, when you are on tour and it's your time to do it, there's no confusion or there's no figuring things out the hard way. It gives you the chance to execute it right the first way, or at least execute it right early on for yourself. So it's like, when I went on tour with Huey, there were some things I learned about, like, he was opening for this guy Struggle Jennings, and we weren't using it, but Struggle's crew was using this app or this software called Master Tour, I think it was. Yep. And it's like, his like bandmates and crew showed it to me. It's all like, their schedules are like pre-planned out, and all their bus times and their load in and load out, and the whole tour schedule is on this app, and they do their merch through it. And that's just one of those things that, had I not been there to see that and know about it, I just simply wouldn't know about it. So when it comes time for me to tour, I'd be like, man, like, I'm so like confused, like, how do I do this? This is one of those things that, when it comes time for me to need to use something like that, like, I have that in my pocket now. It's like, oh yeah, we can just use Master Tour. We can run it through this. So I think there's probably like a handful of examples like that I could use, but in general, like, that's why it's so important, is if you can, like you said, develop another skill, whether it's photography or playing an instrument or videography, whatever it may be, just even if you're just willing to sell merchandise at a table, that doesn't even really take a skill other than being personable, and just being organized. It's really, really good if you can get on a tour crew and just go experience it. There's so many little things that you pick up. Even just like with the electronics, like a lot of the like setting up Soundcheck and like some equipment that I saw, because that tour was to a scale, the venues and the equipment was to a scale that I wasn't at as a performer myself. Like even some of the like pedals and things that they were using is just stuff that I would not see if I'm just playing Adam Yokum shows, because I'm not there yet,
Yeah. And you might not even see, even if you just went to that show as a fan, because you're just hearing the final product. You're not there for sound check. The guy's plugging in this pedal into this machine, that plugs out into this goes to the house, the in-ear's routed to you. Like, you can be there and maybe just watch and or ask questions. And if you're not in the way, and like people will just be like, yeah, oh yeah, you do like this, I can send you the link on where I bought this thing.
Exactly.
And this just looks like fucking a different language if you don't know what you're looking at. Like, it's this pedal board with a bunch of knobs on it. You're like, I don't know what the hell that is. But if you ask, you go, oh, I could actually use that for when I go on tour, and I can use it this way. And now you have a new tool that you would have never known about if you weren't just in the room.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and it's really important to view tour as like when you're touring in that matter, like, you're not performing, you're just out there, but you know you're an artist, you're trying to make this happen. it's really, really important to view that all as a chance to just soak up information. Because I think you could just as easily find yourself in that position, like, yo, I'm on this tour, selling merch, doing photography, just helping out. And you could just see it as a party, and you could just like get drunk at the shows, crash at the hotel, just stumble into the van the next day, and like all these little fine details about the tech and the setup and the Master Tour app, they could blow right by you if you let them.
Totally.
So it's important while you're there to like be aware of all these things of like, I want to learn everything. You really got to care about what you're doing. You got to have a desire to learn.
And you got to know yourself too, because if you're self-aware enough to know that, all right, if I go on tour and sell this merch, might just be pissed off that I'm not on this bill because I'm gonna just not have the right mindset about it, and I'm actually all that stuff is gonna blow right by me. Then maybe you shouldn't be the guy that's on that tour because your mind's elsewhere and you're not doing it with like the right intentions, right? Like when Huey asked you to do that, you were actually on tour with us. I was tour managing, which is like, yeah, perfect example. Both of us were on tour together and neither of us were performing. I was TMing and I was the agent too for that tour for Abstract and Dylan Owen, homies of ours. And we needed like a fifth utility player. And I was like, yo, Adam, you should just roll. Like they'll pay, for your food. You'll have a place to stay. You're not really going to come home with a lot of money, but like just come help, shoot some photos, whatever. Help us carry in some shit and just be there for the hang. And I was there tour managing. Also, like not really making money. I was like there for the fucking squad on that one, right? But and you were like, yo, maybe I should do this Huey tour and sell merch. And I'm just like, yes, because you have the personality and you're good at soaking up game. And, it was also a paid position. Transparently, it's not like you were just like, hanging out, like losing your life. It was like a job. Like you treat it like a job. You show up, sell merch, organize this, report the numbers to Huey's manager, whoever needed to be, whatever. But also, yeah, soak up game. I knew you would come home with some gems, even if they were minor, and it was just a good use of your time, right? Like, pretty sure you'd rather be on tour, slinging merch, having a new experience every day, meeting people, come home with some relationships than substitute teaching. Same shit. Like, it's another job. But, yeah, I think a lot of artists aren't able to, or maybe they don't want to, and that's okay too, but they're not able to, like, put their ego aside and play a different role. But I think from experience, there's a lot of value in that. I've just talked about this so much. Like I try to wear whatever hat I can to add value to the situation. And I think that's resulted in having a lot of good relationships and also being able to making a living, whatever. Like I could never record a song again. And I know I wouldn't have to get a job somewhere because I could be a full-time tour manager. I could just be a merch guy forever. I could start a booking agency if I really wanted to. Like I have the wherewithal to do all these things. And that's just because I was okay with doing these things early and learning a ton about it. And I just think there's a lot of gems there because everything's about relationships at the end of the day. So the more reliable you are, the more more of a good communicator you are. Same thing we were talking about before. You're just gonna get the call. It's like, oh no, now we need an opener. All right, we're gonna call Adam. He was a great hang on the last tour. I already know how he thinks. I already know how he operates. He wasn't even performing on the last one, but he's the fucking man. Like, he's someone that we want to help and give a shot. If you're just a guy on Spotify with a cool song, people might never know to call you because they might, I don't know, it's kind of a risk. Like, he might be a dickhead or he might show up late or he might be talking out of pocket in the van and, like, saying crazy shit or you just show up and be a good dude, shit comes to you,
Yeah, absolutely. And also, another thing is if you're an artist, you're on tour in another role, that can actually help you as an artist when it's time for you to tour. Like, prime example, when I was helping on that Abstract Dylan Owen tour that you were talking about, they played a show in Minneapolis and just hanging out, being personable, talking to people, selling merch, whatever. Met a handful of people there, just making friends. And then like a year later, whatever, I played a show in Minneapolis. There were a few people, probably like 2 or 3 people that came to my show because they met me at the Abstract Dylan Owen show where I was just there like working.
And then like probably listen to your music after the fact and like, yo, that dude was cool. Like I bought him a beer. He's a good hang. I'm gonna listen. I was like, oh damn, this dude's actually dope. Yeah, you're just in the room, and that's sometimes that's more than half the battle. Just get in the room and just be there. Shit works out. Um, I kind of have a analogy in my head. Maybe I can communicate it properly. It always goes back to basketball for me, right? Like when you get to a certain level, I remember there was a one of my teammates. Um, we were the same grade. He was a freshman, and he wasn't playing a lot. He wasn't getting in the game, and it's not because he wasn't good. It's because we had older guys that were maybe better than him, whatever. And I remember the coach pulled him aside and was like, "Yo, if you want to get in the game, become a way better defender, even though you're a scorer and like that's what you grew up doing and like that's what you want to do. Playing defense and doing the hustle plays and like setting the right screen, that's going to get you on the court. And now you have way more opportunity to shoot the three, shoot the wide open three because you're on the court. Like if you suck at defending, which is maybe not the thing that you want to be doing or like you should be doing, you're never even going to get on the court in the first place, right? So I think also some of this is like growing up playing organized sports. You have a good understanding of what a role player, so to speak, is supposed to do and how to be a
Yeah.
star in your role. Like there's guys in the NBA that just do one thing really well. And maybe that wasn't their dream, right? But now they're making $20 million a year because they can shoot a wide open corner three and they fucking suck at everything else. Maybe you're not going to dunk on everybody and get a bunch of highlights, but guess what? You're in the game. You're doing what you love, right?
Yeah.
So that's always like the way I kind of approach that. And I think, yeah, maybe just playing organized sports was helpful with that mindset because I have no problem. Like, you know, I TM, I tour manage for other people now. Like, it's kind of just like part of my year. It feels like sometimes I'll get a call and be like, all right, I'm going to go out with 3 weeks for 3 weeks with these two guys. It's a paid role. They know I'm good at it. I'm going to go take care of the gang. It's fun. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't, yeah, do I know I can go on stage and kill it just like them? And dude, I got guys, I have fans too. Like, I've played at this venue before. Like, I headline this room. Who gives a fuck? Just go do the job that you're supposed to do, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
I don't know. I think that's valuable for, hopefully, if there's artists like trying to figure out how to get on tour, maybe they can think about what are some of my other interests or like, you see someone announce a run of shows. What does that team need that I can do? Whether you get paid or not, how can I plug myself into that situation by adding value, not by asking for anything, right?
Yeah. And also, I know this is like a no-brainer. Like, it's kind of like duh, but just knowing people will also help you really get on tour. Like, I think that when you're on tour, an underrated like part of it is you spend so much time in the van with those people that you're around. It's not too often. I mean, it definitely happens, but I don't think it's too often that a touring party wants to bring someone on tour who they've never met. Because like you said, it's kind of like a risk because you spend so much time. If we're playing a 20 city tour over the span of a month, I mean, you're spending 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with that crew of people. If someone in that crew is just annoying or like a dickhead or something, you're they're gonna get kicked off the tour.
It's gonna be the last time you tour with them.
It's gonna be the last time you tour with them.
Yeah.
So I would say it's realistically. I mean, it happens, but it's not too often that you just see some artist or someone going on tour that you've had no prior interaction with and be like, yo, like, can I come on tour with you? I think most people, even if you're a good person, they're going to be very skeptical of spending that much time with someone that they don't know for sure is someone who they enjoy their presence. So even if you can go out of your way to, if an artist who you really like their music, you like their kind of the vibe, you could see you and that artist being friends, basically.
Totally.
You should go out of your way to, if they're playing a show, if they're already on tour, go to that show. Try to meet them in person. You know what I mean? any chance that you can to like network, be in the room. Artists all the time in Nashville, they have these like release parties hosted at some bar where it's like, yo, my EP comes out tonight. I'm gonna play a few songs and then sit around and just drink beer with you guys. Like, go to that, you know? Even if you don't drink beer, you don't gotta drink. Just go hang out, say what's up, shake
Yeah.
hands with people.
Meet the merch guy. Meet the
Meet the
bass
merch guy.
player. Whoever. Just be cool. Add value. Like, one thing that I think is always cool is people will come to a show sometimes and go, yo, if y'all need like food recommendations for after the show, here's a list of 3 spots in Houston that are really dope that no one knows about. That is the smallest thing that anyone can do if you just live in Houston and we don't. That automatically makes me like that person because they're like, oh, they're just being helpful and they're just normal and cool.
Thoughtful.
And if that person
thoughtful.
also is like a crazy good drummer, and then next time I talk to them, they reach out and they're like, yo, I would love to play drums for you. Like if you ever are getting to that point where you need a drummer live, I already think of that person highly. It's not just a random shit, you know? So
Exactly.
the smallest things can like snowball into an actual relationship where, you know, there's an open dialogue and yeah. So it's
Like if that same guy, if you didn't have that interaction with him, if he didn't was like, yo, here's these restaurants, like go check them out, bro, enjoy Houston. If that never happened, but the same dude just DM'd you and was like, yo, bro, I play drums, like can I come play drums on your tour? Even if you needed a drummer, you'd probably be like, like probably not.
yeah, because I know 6 people that play drums that I've talked to before. So it goes back
Right.
to what you're saying. It's like I already know I would hang out with this guy, so I'm going to hire him instead.
Yeah.
I don't know this person, you know.
Dude, there's people who I would bring on tour that I'm trying to word this in the right way to not sound like an asshole. I would rather have someone in my crew that's not the best at their job. Like maybe they're not the best photographer in the world, but they're like the homie and it's a really good hang and I enjoy my time. I would so much rather have that than someone who's just a dickhead, annoying, not the person I want to be around, but they're just crushing it on photography. The hang and all the time that you spend in the van together is crucial on if you're like working on a tour or not.
The hang and the vibe is everything. And also, like what we're saying, it's like all these opportunities are kind of right in front of everyone's face, and I think people just sometimes are thinking about it the wrong way. Because you're not gonna meet Kendrick Lamar's drummer and then go, "Yo, just let me know if y'all need anything." They got it figured out. They're making millions of dollars. But artists that are touring like at our level, or even like a little bit more, like at a club level of like selling 500 tickets or less, it's hard to tour on that scale. So any value you can add, it's actually really appreciated and it will be noticed because there might be 200 people at a show and there's like 2 people that are doing what you're doing, right? Like 2 people that are like, let me give a food rec. Let me fucking help them load out their merch if everyone's gone and you're still there and you're just being cool. Like you're going to remember that person, you know? So it's not like rocket science to like kind of get in the door, but it also, you kind of have to understand the dynamic, understand what your value add is, know when to ask for things, know when not to, but it's all right there. You know, it's like, there's plenty of people that are touring and doing this full time that you don't even know about. And if you just go to the venue's website that you go to, that's like around that size within, you know, an hour from your house, just look at the shows and be like, all right, I'm gonna go to these 3 shows within the next 3 months. And I'm just going to try to meet somebody and just be their friend and just like have a good time and maybe learn something while I'm there. That's like a great use of your time. If you're a local artist trying to put yourself on the road or take the next step aside from just opening for whoever comes through and bringing your 15 friends out and then going home and thinking you're fucking Lil Wayne, you know, like,
yeah,
it's only going to last.
And it's important to do that meaningful too, dude. Like there's a whole thing where I really hate it when people are like, oh, I'm networking. Like, I really like going out and networking because there's a lot of those people with that weird, like, networking mindset that just pull up and they're like, yo, like, what's your Instagram? And then they're just like, sweet, yeah, like, follow me back, bro, whatever, like, nice to meet you. That's not the whole point. It's not about just going out and like shaking hands and being like, well, like I know this guy, I know this guy. It's about genuinely connecting with people.
What you just said, that person, an artist or whatever, is not going there with the intention to learn something or add value. They're going there to see what they can get out of the situation. So,
Exactly.
although maybe that's what the aim is long term, that's only going to come if you make an authentic, if you like do the work essentially beforehand. Like, you're not just going to shake some dude's hand one time and then he's going to be like, bro, you should just open for me next year. Like, come do these 45 shows with me. Like, you're fucking awesome. That was the best handshake I ever got.
Yeah.
No. Like, you know, so it's all about the
Yeah.
intention, I feel like.
Absolutely about the intention. Well, a lot of good convo here,
That's all we
Dylan.
got.
Looks like we're pushing 50 minutes here. Might be all we got. If you're hearing this, Dylan's currently on tour. My tour starts in the next day or two. Peep the dates if you're around anywhere that we listed in the beginning. You know, we would love to see you guys.
Hell yeah.
As you can tell by this convo, we really appreciate touring. Love doing it. It means a lot to us. So, Dylan, you have anything else to add before we wrap this up?
That's all I got. Call your mom. Not yours, but whoever's listening. Call your mom. Tell them that you love her. Just
Maybe
call
we'll
some-
do like a follow-up episode after tour sometime. We'll do like, this is almost like the pre-tour episode, and then maybe we can do like a tour recap episode where we both kind of look back at what actually happened on the tour.
I think that would be doable.
Yeah.
You got my phone number?
I think so. Yeah, I'll have to check, but I think
We'll
I got
set it up. We'll set it up. All right. Have a good rest of the week, everybody. Hope to see you at a show. If not, leave a comment. Let us know where you're at, because maybe we'll do a show there if you're not coming to where you're at. As always, thanks for listening. Peace.